Anime fans, the first topic I want to discuss is the news that Marvel Studios VFX Workers have unanimously voted yes to unionize and following damning disclosures. I honestly thought this. I had a feeling this was going to happen, where you already had the writers and actors on strike right now. It was still on strike. I think they're about to have the third meeting with the studios. I think the writers' strike is actually going on longer than the one that was in 2007 or 2008. I can't remember what year, but it was one of those studios. But I'm not shocked by this because you've heard there's so many stories about these VFX artists that are being overworked, tight deadlines, and obviously with Marvel Studios, they put out way more stuff in Phase 4 when it comes because you had the TV shows, the animated series, plus the movies. They put out a lot of content. I think somebody said like you look at Phase 4 and it was like 16 or 18 projects. I know some people have criticized the VFX and the MCU stuff lately about not looking as good. So it's just, and I don't think this is just a thing with Marvel Studios. Obviously, they're the biggest because they're putting out the most. But I just think this is something that's been going for years when it comes to just you have movies on streaming services now that are like spending a lot of money. So it's just I think the output is just increasing so much every year. It's getting to the point where you only have so many VFX artists around. So I feel like this is something I'm not so surprised by. It sucks because when you look at the writers and actors strike, I don't think those two strikes are going to end anytime soon. It doesn't sound like both sides are coming to a good agreement right now, and I've even heard rumors that those strikes could go into next year. And with the VFX artists going on, that sounds like they're going to go on strike now. It just seems like the Hollywood industry definitely needs to just change how they paid these when it comes to actors, writers, VFX artists, because it sounds like the working conditions aren't great. And look, I agree that these VFX artists should get paid better, and that they should, the working conditions should be better when it comes to better health insurance, better benefits, and all that. Same with the actors and writers. The only thing I kind of more on the studio side is the whole residual things where, like, in my opinion, that's something where I'm just kind of like, well, I don't think you really used to continue to get paid for something that you did when you did the job already. Like, to me, like actors, writers, visual VFX artists should get paid better up front when it comes to the job they do. They should get paid better. But I don't think you should continually get paid like when it comes to residuals. When you did the job, you completed it. That's I know that's a controversial opinion. So, and I'm not really I don't know all the ins and outs when it comes to that whole like I haven't done my research when it comes to like what the VFX artists and writers and actors what they're all fighting for. But I understand why they're unionized when you've heard the stories about Marvel Studios, how the VFX people have been treated, and just how long of hours they work when it comes to tight deadlines and all that. But yeah, it just sucks to hear this because right now I just think it like when you had Dune 2 that got pushed into next year. I mean, it's like Cobra, where this is going to affect like the whole industry when it comes to all these movies right now. Because it just seems like everybody's going on strike right now, and I hope when it comes to VFX artists, writers, actors, they all come to an agreement with the studios soon, so this doesn't last. So this, like, I'm really hoping the rumors about like some of these about the actors and writers strike going into next year. I hope that doesn't happen. But I am not shocked that the VFX artists have unionized against Marvel Studios. I'm not surprised by that. The next thing I want to talk about is news that a Brightburn sequel is going to happen. Now, I really love the first Brightburn, so I would be definitely down to see a sequel. I definitely understand the criticism towards the movie when it comes to people saying that it's pretty predictable. It's like the concept of an evil Superman. That's what you get in the movie. It doesn't really like. There's not much more to the movie besides basically the concept of the movie. So I can understand why this movie wasn't really received all that well and why it didn't get the greatest reviews. But it's a movie that I love a lot more, I think, than other people did, and I would really be down for a sequel because they do tease like a sequel at the end where they show there's other people in the world with powers, and I would be really personally excited for it. Now I know it's come out of fire because I think I saw like its AI is going to be involved in the story somehow, and I know the AI then is very sensitive right now with the fact that that's what the writers and actors, one of the things they're fighting for is the testing against AI. So I'm not, when it comes to like AI being involved, I don't know like how it's actually going to use it for the movie, but I would be just as an idea for a Brightburn sequel. I would love to see just a Brightburn sequel and a continuation of the story. The next thing I want to talk about is the Lando series is apparently going to be a movie now. Now, I would be really excited for this. I think Danny Glover did a great job as a young Lando. I thought it was great Han Solo. I even enjoyed the Han Solo movie. I don't think it was great, but I thought it was a fun movie. When it comes to the idea of doing a Lando movie, I don't think that's really the best idea to do one now with Star Wars because I think if you're going to do because I think right now you need to do some Star Wars movies that kind of move the story forward. I don't have a problem doing it. Like, I would be excited for it personally, but I just don't know if a lot of people would be excited for a Lando movie because the Han Solo movie didn't do well at the box office. I think it's the only Star Wars movie that didn't do well financially. And I just don't know if doing a Lando movie, a lot of people will go and see it, despite people loving Danny Glover in the role. I would be definitely down for it, but I just don't think that movie would do well at the box office. I could be wrong. Like, you never know. Like, this is just my thoughts. But I would definitely be down for Lando movie if they decide to do it. Next thing I'll talk about is the Marvels budget was revealed to be 130. I love hearing this because one of the things with some of these movies lately is the budgets being ridiculous. I mean, you had the Indiana Jones movie that cost 300 plus you had all the marketing. You could have made that movie for 100 something like the Marvels. Like, I've always said this in past videos that Avengers and Avatar are the only two franchises that I think you should have a budget that's 200 plus. Because Avatar's all CGI, those movies make over $2 billion so far. You can take the rest. But Avengers movies, they've made over $1 billion plus $2 billion with the last two. And Avengers movies have a lot of actors that you have to pay. So I understand why those two franchises, but I'm so happy to hear that the Marvels is this budget is like probably 130. You add the marketing, 100 something, around that area. But I'm just so happy to hear that it has like a bit more of a modest budget. And I think this movie's actually going to do a lot better than people think it will because despite people's hatred towards Brie Larson, it seems right now, I never had an issue with her. I know people hate her based on that one comment she said a few years ago. But I know a lot of people were lukewarm on the first Captain Marvel movie, but again, that movie made over $1 billion at the box office. And I think a lot of people are going to go and see this movie. Like, if it turns out to be a good, great movie, then I think we'll have legs. But I think this is good news to hear that has like a 130 modest budget because this is the type of movie where I really don't think you need to spend like 200 plus. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the creator put out his final trailer. I think this trailer looks fantastic. It has like a great emotional response to it, and I'm a sucker for sci-fi apocalypse movies. And the director who's doing this, he did the Guys All the Way from 2014, the first Monsterverse movie, and he did Rogue One, which is the only Star Wars movie I love outside of the original trilogy. And I know he disappeared from Hollywood, but I don't know. He's like, I love his past two movies. I'm so happy to see him back doing another movie, and I think this trailer for the creator, this looks really great. I don't know if this is going to do well because it's like one of those high sci-fi concepts where I don't know if a lot of people are going to go and see this. But I think this is a fantastic final trailer that I personally can't wait for this movie. Like, this is my most anticipated movie of this month, in my opinion. So I'm really excited. I thought this trailer did a great job of just having a lot of emotion to it when it comes to the music in the background and just the story, the way the story looks. So I think this trailer was fantastic. So that's all the movie topics. Until next time, movie fans.